I just got off my 30th cruise with Royal Caribbean Cruise Line, and there are some things that Royal Caribbean isn't telling you. What's going on? My name's Jared. Jordan is booking your cruise vacations, and we are JJ Cruise. Thanks so much for joining us today. Today, we're going to talk about all of the things that we have learned after 30 cruises that you wouldn't know on your first Royal Caribbean cruise or potentially your 100th Royal Caribbean cruise. These are the things that Royal Caribbean isn't telling you, both cruise tips, cruise hacks, and money-saving tips for your next Royal Caribbean cruise. But before we get into it, please subscribe to the channel. All we do is cruise content, travel content. So if you love traveling, if you love cruise vacations, please subscribe to the channel. It's free to you. It means the world to us. And if you don't like it later, just unsubscribe. We just got off our 30th cruise with Royal Caribbean, and we have learned some things over our 30 cruises. We've done them all from the smallest cruise ship on Royal Caribbean's fleet to the world's largest cruise ship, Icon of the Seas, or you could say the world's biggest cruise ship, Icon of the Seas. And we have learned from all of the ships in between that there is a lot of things that people do not know when they board their first Royal Caribbean cruise, and sometimes even after their 30th Royal Caribbean cruise. So today, I'm going to tell you all the tea, all of the things that you need to know when going on Royal Caribbean for your first time or maybe your 100th time that Royal Caribbean doesn't tell you flat out. Let's start out with a fun one, and that is Royal Caribbean has a 24-hour hot tub on every one of their ships. Yes, that's true. If you want to go and have a late night plunge in a hot tub, relax under the stars, well, you can do it on Royal Caribbean. Now, this hot tub does rotate because they obviously have to clean all of the hot tubs and all the pools. But what we have found is Royal Caribbean is one of the only cruise lines that has one hot tub at least open on every ship throughout the entire day. This next tip is one great for groups. And to be honest with you, it's something that a lot of people are starting to learn, but a lot of people still don't know when they get on board their cruise. We were shocked with how many people didn't know that you can message each other in the Royal Caribbean app. There's a free chat feature. You do not have to buy the Wi-Fi for this. It's up top in the right-hand corner. It's got a little bubble there. And you can chat with other people, other guests on the cruise. Whether it's your family or friends that you came with or someone new you met that you want to meet up with later, you just have to be able to search their name. You can go ahead and chat with each other and connect throughout the rest of your cruise. Once again, this is on the free internet. This is not something you have to pay for, and it's something that we absolutely love about Royal Caribbean. Now, if you're someone who does need the internet, this next tip is for you and how you can save some money while doing so. We know so many people that want to work while they're at sea or want to stay connected, but they don't want to pay the big bucks of having it the entire cruise. Well, with Royal Caribbean, they don't tell you this, but if you wait a few days, they will prorate your internet package. So if you're someone that's starting on the weekend, maybe you don't have to keep in touch with work because you're going to be gone from Friday through Sunday and not have to start until Monday. Well, it might make sense for you to start your Wi-Fi package on that Monday morning. You'll definitely save some bucks, it'll be prorated, and we always love to save some money while at sea. Speaking of money-saving tips, this next one is one that we're shocked by how many people do not know that you can do this with Royal Caribbean. And that is rebooking your cruise planner packages. Whether it's excursions or specialty dining, there are sales all the time with Royal Caribbean. Now, if you don't know, that cruise planner is the place to go for all of your needs. But if you do know, you might not know that you can rebook it if it drops in price. We have been able to get everything from Hideaway down from $100 to $50 to getting something like an excursion 50% off. All we have to do is cancel and rebook within the cruise planner, and you're ready to go. So if you're someone that likes to save a little extra money, check out the holidays especially, because you're able to get some of the best savings during those holiday sales. Another tip that really does go into money saving is that of the status match. We're shocked by how many people don't know that Royal Caribbean matches status with celebrity cruises. Now, if you're a celebrity cruiser and you're looking to try out Royal Caribbean, if you have a certain status level, you will be able to get that matched over to Royal Caribbean for your first cruise. And this goes for vice versa. So if you're someone who may be a diamond on Royal Caribbean, that will match over to elite status on celebrity cruises and vice versa. There's a lot of great money saving benefits that come with loyalty status. So definitely look in to see if your loyalty status is matchable, and make sure you go ahead and do that with your loyalty club. Wow, we are on a roll with these money saving tips because this next one can save you a ton of money, but this is a little bit of a gamble. A lot of people do not know, but they're starting to learn that the casino is a great place to get free cruises. You can get complimentary cruises by just gambling and having a good time. Of course, we never recommend you go into the casino if you're not having an entertainment budget or wanting to have a good time gambling. But if you're someone who does like to gamble, make sure your SeaPass card is in that machine or on the table when playing, because if you get a certain amount of points, you will not only get a free cruise, you will also get free drinks. When I say free drinks, these free drinks are in the casino, at the casino bar, and guess what? They're for the entire year. And not just the entire year prior as well. Now, to be specific, it's in casino years. So it's a little bit different than what you would think of. It's not January to December. It is through April 1st through end of March. So if you were gambling, let's say in April, and you hit 2,500 points, which is the number currently you need to get free drinks, you will have free drinks from that April to the next March, and then again to the next March, because you get free drinks the remaining of the current year as well as the next year. So, and technically we could get free drinks this month and have it all the way up until 2026. Yes, this was made in 2024. That is almost 2 full years of free drinks in the casino every time you cruise with Royal Caribbean. This is something that we do all the time. It's called reaching your prime status in the casino. If you want more information, always check out with the host right when you start your cruise and make sure you're doing it correctly. Now, we know a lot of people already know about the complimentary cruises, but don't forget, on your first, maybe second night of your cruise, you usually have free play in the casino as well. This is something a lot of new cruisers, but also cruisers that have cruised a long time in Royal Caribbean, never even realized. Now, the amount of credit you have can range in a lot of numbers, and it is a little bit different per ship. We've seen some ships where it's only the first night. Other ships, our credit wasn't uploaded until the second day, so we weren't able to play until the second night. But we have seen it from $2 all the way to $200. Of course, majority of the time, it's $2. But every once in a while, you might get a little bit more, like $6. No matter what, we have seen huge wins on these $2 bets. Sometimes people pull out 50 cents of their $2, put it on a machine, and win $1,000. It can happen, so don't forget to spend this. You do have to spend this free credit in the casino by the end of the first or second night, depending on your ship. So check first day to see what your credits are and make sure they're spent before they expire. Let's move on into eats, because we love to eat and Royal Caribbean has some great eats. But especially when you are leaving the ship on disembarkation day, most people go to the buffet, but a hidden gem is going to Park Cafe. A lot of times no one thinks of it, doesn't go there. And so if you have a Park Cafe or a Cafe 270 or one of these other kind of hidden gems that are rarely found on the last day of your cruise, head there. They have some great breakfast items, and a lot of times there's not nearly as many people there as there is in the buffet. Another hot tip is one that is only really for those new Royal Caribbean cruisers, because the loyal Royal Caribbean cruisers know how good the coconut cookies are. Coconut cookies are found in usually Cafe Promenade or Park Cafe, sometimes in the buffet as well. But when you find a coconut cookie, sometimes called a Ranger cookie, these are things you need to stock up on. This is not something that I am ashamed about. We have gotten 10 coconut cookies at a time and brought it back to the room for the rest of the cruise. You never know when that night is, and maybe they're not going to have them for the rest of the cruise. And when you stock up in your cabin with these, they are just a nice wonderful surprise every time you come back to your cabin for a nice little snack. They are absolutely delicious. You have to have a coconut cookie. A lot of people in the morning are not pleased when they find out that powdered eggs are what the scrambled eggs are in the buffet. Every breakfast, I hear it. People are like, why do they have powdered eggs? I want real eggs. And every time I tell them this top tip, there's a fresh egg station on almost every Royal Caribbean buffet. And if you go and find this egg station, they can make eggs any way. A lot of times people think that it's only omelets that they're making and they don't want an omelet, they want scrambled eggs or they want eggs in a different way. What these fresh egg stations do is use fresh eggs to make eggs any way. So if you want fresh eggs made, well, scrambled, over easy, hard, whatever it may be, you can go to this fresh egg station and get those fresh eggs. There is one cruise cabin type that we have learned Royal Caribbean does the worst. We have sailed on all of the different cruise classes, from the oldest to Grandeur of the Seas that just came out of dry dock, to one of the newer cruise classes, which is Oasis class on Wonder of the Seas, the newest cruise ship in that class, and have had connecting cabins on the oldest and in the Oasis class. And literally both of them were the worst cruise experience we ever had. Why, you ask? Well, the walls are paper thin. For some reason, the doors don't keep the noise out. They don't do a great job. Of course, we've had a one-off in other cruise classes in Royal Caribbean's fleet that haven't had this issue. But overall, it's not worth the risk, because if you do get one of these connecting cabins that are horrible for sound, your entire vacation is now mute. Yes, it's mute because you don't want to get in a fight with your next door neighbor. You don't want to bug them or annoy them at any hour of the day. And so what happens when you go to your cabin? You feel like it's not comfortable. It's not your home. You can't talk. You can't have the TV on. You just have to go there to sleep and then get out of the cabin when you wake up. And it really doesn't feel like you're paying for a true private cruise cabin, which is exactly what you should be paying for. So I highly recommend not booking a connecting cabin on Royal Caribbean, or else you may be gambling with the fate of having your next neighbor be truly your roommate the entire cruise. A lot of people probably just heard don't book a connecting cabin and were so mad because they have a family or they have friends and they want to be connected. In fact, most families with underage kids think that's the only way you can cruise with a connecting cabin. Well, that's not necessarily the case. A lot of people don't know, but on Royal Caribbean, they have a policy that if you're a family with underage kids that cannot cruise alone in a cabin, that you can still have them alone in a cabin. But there's a caveat. You have to have them in a specific place to do so. Besides connecting cabins, which are always okay for families with underage kids to room alone, you can also have those underage kids rooming alone in a cabin next door, which is considered adjacent, or across the hall. This one blew my mind when I learned it, because I was like thinking, ding, 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 ding. This is why I hear sometimes on Royal Caribbean cruise ships, people coming in and out of doors, but they're across the hall from each other. It's because they know this tip. This cruise hack is one that has saved so many of the families we book all the time. Now, this door has to be directly across from the parents. You cannot have it down the hall or a little off. It has to be directly across. But if you're able to maybe book parents in an ocean view balcony and kids in an inside stateroom across the hall, directly across the hall, door to door, you can do so with underage kids. Now, of course, there are always some stipulations. You want to make sure that these kids are behaving. You do not want to get in trouble with these kids going out late at night and you not knowing. This is all back on the parents, but it is something you can do for booking. Just make sure your cruises are tied together. Of course, kids can't book their own cruise vacation and not be tied to any parents and then have a cruise booking out there. So there are things that you need a travel agent or a representative to help you with to ensure your cruise doesn't get canceled. Speaking of needing a travel agent, the last tip I have is actually something that a lot of people don't know. And once they find out, well, our email boxes get a little full. And that is that travel agents can sometimes get special agency rates. Now, on the flip side, on the internal side, these are massive group reservations that agencies hold. But for you to know, this is just a special agency rate that you can have access to when booking with a travel agent. Not all travel agents have these, and not all sailings are applicable. But if you're booking far out, maybe a year out in advance, a lot of times these rates may be available. These rates can be cheaper, but they can also be refundable deposits. So if you're someone who is really wanting that refundable deposit but doesn't want to pay an arm and a leg extra to get it through Royal Caribbean, maybe it'd be better to go through a travel agent, see if they have one of these special agency group rates, and then you're able to have a refundable deposit as well as potentially a better rate or the same rate you see online. And so it's a win-win either way. I must say this because we get this every day. There is no downside to booking with a travel agent, especially when it comes to rates. We have the same or better rates than booking directly through the cruise line. So if you're someone who wants to book your cruise at the best rate possible, maybe with an additional enhancement of a refundable deposit, then you should be booking with a travel agent. And that is where I have to say, if you want to book with us, please go to jjcruise.com, fill out the booking form for what your next booking may be, and we are happy to give you a quote. Once again, not all cruises have special agency group rates, but all cruises do have the same or better rates on the travel agent website. So we do not have to worry about getting you a worse rate at any time. You can always get the same rate or better when booking through us as your travel agent. Thanks so much for joining us today. Once again, please hit that thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. It's free to you, means the world to us. And let us know your thoughts. What are your common hacks, cruise tips for Royal Caribbean Cruise Line? We'd love to hear it. We know there's even more out there than what we've shared, so tell us in the comments below. We want to get that conversation going to make sure all Royal Caribbean cruisers are ready set for their next Royal Caribbean cruise. If you want to book your next cruise, go to jjcruise.com. And until next time, see ya.